Okay, I'm Jill Allemang. I'm currently the managing director and owner of Gelé, which is a consulting company based in Zurich, Switzerland. I graduated in the first graduating class from the master's degree for learning and organizational change, and that was in 2003. And I was quite shocked, actually, to learn that was 10 years ago when I received your email. Yeah, well, I'd had a classic midlife crisis when I turned almost 40 years old. And I really wanted to make a career change. I'd also had a job where I was traveling really a lot globally. I had already been living in Switzerland for a few years, and I just was looking for a way to change my career and take some time off. I found the program, by the way, in a almost miraculous way for me, because I thought I wanted a PhD, and a different university, a different program recommended to me that because I've been a business manager, I would be better in a practical program, such as at Northwestern. And the program for the MSLOC had just been published a month before I moved for it. So it did exactly what I wanted. It gave me 1 year off. I went full-time. And also gave me the practical, it was really true, the very practical, usable background that I was looking for to change my career. It was a miracle. Well, I think, the first thing it did was apply to my worldview, because it put some things that I had observed. I'd been working for maybe 15 years before I came to the program. And it put some of what I had seen at work in a practical framework, or into an academic model framework, and it gave me some patterns I could use to interpret what I'd already seen. And in addition to that, now my entire business uses exactly what I studied at Northwestern. We focus on career development. We help people with experience learn how to look at their careers, how to consider changing their careers, how to get information to help them do that. So quite surprisingly, I use it exactly directly. I even still hand lists of some of the articles that I read during the program out to some of our clients for their own ability to find them and read them. So it couldn't be more direct in my particular case. Yeah, well, I have a lot of them. This was an important year in my life. I really appreciated being part of the program when it was brand new. I think that's part of what appealed to me, was that it was brand new, and Jeannie Edmond and Ali Niederkorn were really creating it. What I remember most are two things. One is it was a good way for me to become patient and humble again in my life. In business, I had been in a very fast-paced job. I had traveled quite a lot, and I thought everything should be done quickly. And when I joined this group of students, we were all working professionals. We all had different struggles. We had a chance to talk about what it is that we wanted to learn. And I realized that I wasn't alone in some of it, and that if I would just slow down and learn something new, that it would be useful to me in changing my view of what a career could be like and what other kinds of roles we could play. So this was really important. The other thing I would say is that Ginny Eggman did something with me that I still carry into our seminars today, and that is that when I wrote the first draft of my capstone project, which was about learning as a characteristic of leaders, I did this classic female kind of thing. I did as much research as I could. I put it together as well as I could. Spent a lot of time trying to get it organized so that she would think it was good. And then after we went through it, she looked at me and she said, "So, Jill, what would you say your experience as a leader would change about this framework?" And I went, "My experience as a leader? I thought I was supposed to be getting everybody else's experience and learning from that." And then I had to really go think about it. And what I realized was that, in fact, as a working professional and as a leader, I had stopped asking myself sometimes first, what did I think? How would I apply what I had learned so far? I was a little bit too willing to look at someone else's experience and not take mine into account. And since then, that changed something for me. I appreciate very much that Jeannie took that kind of adult, mature approach with us to require us to bring ourselves into it. And we do that now in all of our seminars. This is the thing we always say. Once you're an experienced professional person, it's not from a textbook anymore. You have to sort out something that works for you specifically. And therefore, you must bring your experience to it. And this makes all the difference for people, because then when they find a solution in business, because they have brought themselves to it, they're much more likely to follow it, and because they know why they're doing it. So this was huge for me. In that one little moment, I'm sure Jeannie didn't even mean to do it, but she did. But the thing that helped me, for sure, in my experience, was that I came into the program with an idea of what I wanted to learn. I really wanted to get some input on whether or not learning and change as a characteristic of leaders made a difference to leadership. And maybe I had a bias coming in that it would, and that's what I did my capstone on. To dig to get an answer to my own question, that was a very useful tool that made me learn better. That's what's great, by the way, about this program, that I didn't find in any other program that I was looking for, is that the program had that flexibility and let you bring your own experience and projects to it better than other programs would do. This was for sure something I appreciated. The other thing I would say is to be patient in the learning, especially if, like me, you've been working for 10 or 15 years before you decide to go back to school. It takes longer than you think. And the whole program explains how resistant we are to change and how adults, only change our patterns of how we learn if forced. And I found that also true. And I think be patient with yourself. You're not going to learn it all in 6 weeks. Take the whole course in whatever time the course takes for you to finish it. And I think the last thing I would say is that if something in the course gives you a crazy idea, which it for sure did me, crazy idea about something that might be possible to go try, because that's also what you get out of a master's degree program. You hear other people's experience, you learn about the topics that you're interested in, and then sometimes you get this crazy idea that there'd be something better you'd like to try to go do. Then don't discard that idea, because that's probably the one you're going to need to follow up on later. That for sure happened to me. I got some crazy ideas about what might be some business projects that I'd like to do. I tried to do them first for an employer right after the program, and I still had the crazy ideas. I hadn't done them yet, so I started my own business 6 years ago. And I still sometimes think it was a crazy idea, but I'm really glad I did it. And some of those ideas I had 10 years ago in the program, we're actually doing now. And it takes time. But I would say when you have a crazy idea, listen to it. Dr. Jeannie Edmond, who we all call Jeannie, of course, for sure I remember her. She took a personal interest. She asked me challenging questions, sometimes annoyed the heck out of me because I was such an impatient person, and everything could just take its own time with Jeannie, and that was the best thing that she did. But for me, it was an adjustment for sure. Also, Terry Kramer, I still keep in touch with her. She came into the program a little later after I started, but for sure was there a long time while I was there. And I think some of the conversations we had, her diverse background, our common interests, this made the program more valuable to me, for sure. Ali Niederkorn and Mark Smithovitz also gave, what I would say is that they gave the program this sense of culture that we built. They added this fresh wind and this positive inspiration